Hi, welcome to the Readers Guild, and I hope I'm helping people find books they would like to read or they're interested in, or they could share to other people that they think they might be interested in. So in my video for last week, which I did the love letters of Abelard and Lily, which should be right over here. My pillow's blocking it, so yeah. I had said that I would do this duo, which is like The Eternal Ones and All You Desire. Well, I want to do a short video this week, and so I'm deciding to save those for next week, and I'm going to do Long Waiting Down by Jason Reynolds. And it is a very short book, so it doesn't look short, but it is, I promise. And I just wanted to do something short because I wanted to do some things. So, anyway, getting on to, we are still on the floor. This is a great thing. No, it's not. The room has still not been fixed up all the way. I think it's been about a month. I don't even know at this point. Anyway, so I have a short summary that, I don't know, it's basically the back. I wrote it down, but I think I'm just going to read the back because I could not figure out a summary better than the one on here, because this book has a lot that goes on really fast, and giving it a summary is almost nearly impossible for me to try and do because there's so much that I don't know how I should do it without putting spoilers in it. And I don't want to spoil really anything and just get you hooked onto it. So I think I'm just going to read the back one because the back one is actually really good for the book. And it's not even really a summary. It's just, here, this is basically the beginning of the book, but not word for word. They changed up and pieced things together. So yeah. Let me just read it and then see where it goes from there. Okay? Cool. Will's older brother Sean has been shot, dead. Will feels a sadness so great he can't explain it. But in his neighborhood there are the rules. Number 1, crying. Don't, no matter what. Number 2, snitching. Don't, no matter what. Number 3, revenge. Do, no matter what. But bullets miss. You can get the wrong guy, and there's always someone else who knows to follow the rules. And then beside it, it says 60 seconds, 7 floors, 3 rules, 1 gun. So this book is written in verse. And if you don't know what verse is, it's basically poetry. It's written like it is poetry, and it's like a free verse poetry. Sometimes they actually do have rhyme schemes and such, but this is actually the second book I've read in verse, and so far, books in verse are amazing. I read a book in verse last year for Battle of the Books. It was called House Arrest by K.A. Holt, if that rings a bell to anybody. Anyway, I read that, and that was the very first book ever I've read that is in verse, and this just happened to be the second. This book was on my book list for over a year, I'm pretty sure, because I watched this guy, which I'm going to call it booktuber because there's different types of things. So yes, I guess I'm counted as a booktuber now, but this guy, he had mentioned this book, and I was just going through different videos, and I just found, and he was talking about this book, and then I'm pretty sure, I think it was on the Battle of the Books list for high school this year, but I'm not in high school, so I'm not exactly sure, but I think it was on there. But this book I've been wanting to read for a while, and I found it for not that much at like a bookstore. I don't remember what it was. I just remember I got it. But I've been wanting it forever, and it wasn't that bad of a price. So I got it, and I read it in less than a day, I'm pretty sure, because it's in verse, so It's different than the one I read in verse in 7th grade because it was filling up both the page completely. And it was like, yeah, it was filling up the page completely and you would read it. But this is more like it's everywhere. It's not in a specific place. It just moves all around, but the page is not fully filled up. And it was real fast to read because of that. So the rating. It was pretty good. I don't know what to give it right now. I'll guess I come back to that later. I don't know why I started doing it, but here, I'll come back to it later. Age, I would say teen because of some things that aren't mentioned in here. It's not exactly like it's more violence, kind of threats is what's going on in here. And it just seems like it would be more of a teen book the way it is, the way everything happens. It just feels like a teen book to me. So I want to talk a little bit about the book. So this book has several different awards, but I actually don't know what a lot of them mean. I have never been into figuring out what the awards mean. So Coretta Scott King Award, Nonviolent Change. Honor Book, Newbery Honor Book. Outstanding Children's Literature, the Walter. So there's all these different awards for this book, and this book is set in an elevator. That's why it says 7 floors, because majority of what happens is in the elevator as Will goes going down. And it's supposed to happen all within a minute or two. All these pages. And it all happens within a minute too. So as I said, I read this really fast, so I don't think it should take you more than 2 days to read. Because it is literally very small amounts of words on the pages. Very. So for the bookmark, since I said this was set in an elevator and you see like the elevator buttons on the cover. So I took all of that and then I have this elevator drawn right here. So it's folded so I could put it over like the page that I'm on. And that's how I did it. And it's actually a jumbo, like really big index card cut in half and then folded like that. And I drew the elevator on that side. And so, yeah, that's the bookmark. So another thing is there's actually discussion questions in the back of this particular copy I have. And I don't know if it's in every copy or just this one, this specific one, but it's got discussion questions, which basically means if you were to read this in a group, or you could just do it yourself and you could answer the questions to yourself, but they are actually pretty like good questions, and it seems like they are also questions you would have to answer for your ELA class when reading a novel. So just keep that in mind. But in here, there's about 19-ish of those. And this book reminded me a lot about a book called Ghost Boys that I read for All the Books last year. And it's about a boy who was shot by policemen in the middle of a field because he was playing with a toy gun. And it was about noonish, and he was shot. And the police kept trying to say that he looked like a grown man with a gun because it was dark, but it was noon. So it's called Ghost Boys because he turns to a ghost, and the book goes back and forth from when he was alive and when he's dead. And it just goes all through how forever it's never stopped where people are shot for no reason and nobody does anything about it. It's like they make up a lie and everyone believes them and they get off the hook and no one pays attention to the fact of what actually happened and went down. And so this book reminds me of that. And it's just one of those kinds of books where a lesson is to be learned. Well, most books have a lesson, but it's like more prominent and you know what it is. And then there's some things that just have a moral. Not a lesson, a moral, just putting things out there. Or things where you should pay attention to in your life. Little things. So, so as I said, I'm going to do the duo over here next week because I just felt like I would do something short this time, and I just didn't want to have to do 2 books right now. Sorry! But if you would, could you please come back for the next week's books? Because if you are a romance person, that's definitely for you. Fly you high, Overlanders.